Hey guys, welcome back to BackyardBikingBros. In this video, we're going to be walking you through the top 5 most important things that you're going to need to get into mountain biking. So let's get into it. Alright, so the number one thing that you're going to need, it's the most important thing that you're going to need for mountain biking, and it's not a bike.
Wait a minute!
The number one most important thing is going to be a helmet. So the reason that I put that as number one is because whenever you're starting out and you're not very good at mountain biking, you're going to be falling quite a bit. And having a good helmet and not cheaping out on it is going to be really smart. So some good brands you could look into buying one from are POC, or I'm pretty sure that IXS makes some good helmets, Fox makes some good helmets. There's just a lot of good brands out there, but don't get some Walmart brand crappy helmet, because one, they're not going to protect your head, and two, they're just not going to last for hopefully how long you're going to be doing mountain biking, because the first time you fall, if something really bad happens, you're not going to want to keep doing the sport because you might be scared of it, or you don't want to get hurt again, or something like that. So don't cheap out on a helmet, and that is the number one most important things. Now I'm going to have Jax come in and explain the different types of helmets and which one you should buy.
Hello there.
Alright, so there are 3 different types of helmets. Number 1 being the half-shell helmet, second type being the full-faced helmet, and the third being the mushroom or BMX helmet or skate helmet. Each of them have their pros and their cons. I'm going to go into those now. So, half-shells are probably what you're going to see most people wearing. They don't provide chin protection, but they provide a very good amount of protection for the main part of your head. It doesn't do your face like the full face does. And they're very lightweight. They have very good airflow. So yeah, I definitely recommend those. The second type that I'm going to go over is the full face. So the full face is going to offer you the most protection out of the 3 options. These also have pretty good airflow, but they're going to be a little heavier, as you might expect. But they're going to offer you, if you're going to want to go on some more hardcore rides, they're going to help you out with a little bit more protection if you get into a bad situation. The third type is the mushroom or BMX or skate helmet. So I personally wouldn't buy these, but I mean, if that's what you want. I mean, it's not going to give you the level of protection of the other ones, but if that's what you've got, I mean, it's better than nothing. So, yeah.
All right. Thanks, Jax, for doing those. The next thing is going to be the bike. So, number 2 on the list is the bike that you're going to ride for mountain biking. If you're just getting into the sport and you're not really 100% sure if you're going to stick with it, and if you even like it yet, you don't always have to buy a mountain bike, even though buying a mountain bike is the more bang for your buck than renting every time. But if you're still not sure if you're going to like the sport, then you don't necessarily have to buy. You can always rent a bike. There's a couple of different places. I'm sure that if you go to a downhill park or anywhere like that, you can rent bikes or helmets or pads or anything else that you're gonna need for mountain biking. But you can also borrow a bike. So if you have a friend that has an extra bike, or maybe they only have one bike and you're going with someone else and they allow you to use their bike, but someone also might have an extra bike, so you don't necessarily have to buy a bike, even though that is what I would do. If I was in your position, I would probably buy a bike, just because it's kind of cool to have your own bike and be able to go out on the trails with your own bike. But there are a couple different types of bikes, and Jax is now going to explain those to us.
What is up? Alright, so there's 2 different types of bikes that you can purchase or borrow or rent. So the first type is the hardtail. Second type is the full suspension. Me and Levi have hardtails currently. We love them. I mean, of course. So a hardtail, as the name suggests, the tail has no suspension, but the front does. Whereas a full suspension has both a suspension fork on the front and then a shock on the back. So the full suspension is gonna be a smoother ride if you're into that. Hardtail is gonna be a little bit more intense, a little bit bumpier. I've never personally used the full suspension, but I've heard that hardtails are you can go faster on hardtails depending on how you ride. So yeah, those are the 2 different types of bikes.
Alright, so sticking to the bike subject, if you're just getting into mountain biking and you do want to buy a bike, I would recommend not blowing tens of thousands of dollars on a bike like some people do. And most people that do spend that much money are pretty into the sport and pretty good. So if you're just getting started, it's probably not the best idea to buy a super expensive bike. So with that being said, I would recommend probably buying a hardtail, because you can get a lot higher quality hardtail for a lower price than you could get a high quality full suspension. Because since a full suspension has that shock on the back, like Jack said, it's going to be a lot more expensive because they're a lot harder to design and engineer and manufacture the parts for them. So I would recommend a hardtail, and there's endless numbers of brands you can buy. I'm not going to go into which one's best because there really isn't one that's superior than the other. It's personal preference. But before you buy a bike, just make sure that you know what you're buying, because you don't want to just buy some cheap bike from like Walmart or something, because it's not gonna last through what you're gonna put it through. And this is your first bike, so you're gonna learn a whole bunch of new things on it. You're gonna want it to be able to adapt to you getting better quickly. So probably go to a bike shop, talk to one of the salespeople there, because they know bikes better than us for sure. So just know what you're buying before you buy it, and know that it's a good price and it's a good quality bike. But you don't have to spend thousands of dollars. Like my newest bike I have, I didn't spend over $1,000 on it, and it's a great bike because I did a bunch of research and found which bike was the best for my price range. So you should do the same and make sure that you're getting something that you're gonna like and that's gonna last. But if you do have the money for a full suspension, I will say, if you have $10,000 laying around that you don't necessarily need and it's just sitting there, and you want to spend that money on a bike, you can get a full suspension. It's probably going to get you more comfortable mountain biking faster than a hardtail would, which there are benefits to that. And again, make sure you know what you're getting before you get it. So yeah, if you can get a full suspension, get a full suspension. But if you're just getting into it and you don't have a bunch of money to spend on a mountain bike, just get a hardtail. It's still a whole bunch of fun. That's what I use, that's what I've always used, and I love it. Alright, so number 3 on the list is food and water. So these are kind of 2 different subjects that I need to talk about. So water, you're going to always want to take with you on any ride. No matter how far you're going, where you're going, you always want to take water. Whether it be attached to your bike in a bottle cage, or maybe you have a bike pack that attaches to your bike that you can put water in. Maybe you have a hydration pack. Just, you have to carry water on a bike ride because you don't want to get dehydrated. That's when really bad things can happen. Food, on the other hand, is not necessarily something that you need to carry on your person when biking. So if you're going for like a couple laps, like 2-mile laps at a bike park, you probably don't need to carry the food on you, but you do want to carry it like in your car. So whenever you're done with your ride or in the middle of your ride, you can just go to the car and get some food or like a snack or something to just keep your energy up, because you're going to need energy obviously to ride your bike. But if you're going for probably anything over 4 miles, you're probably going to want to carry food somewhere on your body, like in a backpack, or if you have, again, a pack that'll attach to your bike, you could put in there. If you have a fanny pack, a lot of people use those for mountain biking, just some way to hold it. You're going to want to take that because you don't want to run out of energy. And you don't need to pack a full course meal, like a couple bars would be fine. But just know how much you're going to need to eat and know how much you're going to drink before you get out to the trail, because running out of food or water is not an option. Okay, number 4 is going to be something that I've already talked about a little bit, is a backpack or a fanny pack. So they're going to be good for carrying all your stuff. If your bike is compatible with a bike pack, you could get one of those. Just some way to carry all the stuff that you're going to need for your ride. And you don't always have to carry these. If you don't need to carry anything on you, then obviously you don't need to carry an empty backpack. So just, it is nice to have if you're going on a longer ride. Like in all of our videos that we do, we carry hydration packs on us. So you can just take the little nozzle, stick it in your mouth, and get some water. So you can do it while you're still rolling, which is nice for us. Yeah, so those are nice. You probably want to have one of those depending on what types of rides you're going to go on. Okay, and the 5th and final thing, definitely not the least useful on the list, but it's number 5, is an extra tube or something like that to replace a tire if you get a flat. So you're definitely going to want to take those, because getting a puncture on a ride is one of the worst ways to end your day if you don't have an extra tube or something like that to repair it with. And if you're going to get the extra tube, you're also going to need the stuff to fix it with. So you're going to need like a pump, like you can get a little hand pump. Sometimes, I probably should put that in the video. You can get a little hand pump. Okay. You can get a little hand pump, so you can get those that attach to your bike. Those could be nice for you if you aren't carrying a backpack or something to carry that stuff in. Also, some tire levers might be nice, just for switching out the tube. And if you don't necessarily know how to change the tube on your tire, make sure to click in one of these 2 corners. I don't know which one it is, but we have a video that you could watch, and it's how to replace a tube in your tire. So make sure you go watch that if you haven't already. So with that being said, that is the top 5 things that you need to get into mountain biking. So if you did learn something today, make sure that you go down below this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the like button. And also, comment on the things that maybe you do have that we already talked about in this video, something that we could have added in the video, or something that you wish you had. So just let us know in the description. We always reply to all of our comments, so just, even if you want to just say hi, just go down there and do it. We'll always respond to whatever comments you have. So with that being said, have a nice day. This has been Backyard Biking Bros, signing off.